Think you know what really happens at Disney World? Think again, because behind every princess smile, every wave from Mickey, every have a magical day, there's an actor working under a mountain of rules and secrets that most guests will never see. And trust me, these performers aren't just employees, they're actors in the world's longest running live show. After years of exploring the parks, chatting with former cast members, and digging into the stories Disney would rather keep tucked behind Cinderella Castle, I've uncovered 8 secrets the actors really don't want you to know. We'll go through all 8, starting with the rule that defines every moment on stage. Miss even one of these, and you might quietly ruin your own Disney magic, or someone else's. Secret number 1. The double life of every character. When you meet Mickey Mouse, you're not meeting an employee. You're meeting Mickey. Period. Disney doesn't hire people in costumes. They hire actors to live out a story. And the rule is simple. The moment you're on stage, you stop existing as yourself. This idea is so deeply ingrained that cast members literally use 2 words to describe their reality: on stage and backstage. When you're on stage, even if you're having a bad day, even if the Florida heat feels like a sauna inside that costume, you smile, you wave, you dance. You are the character. Backstage, that's the only time the actor gets to breathe, literally and figuratively. But here's the thing. There's no such thing as off the record when you're in costume. Guests ask questions that would normally break the illusion. Aren't you hot in there? Or what's it like working at Disney? The actor can't say, yeah, I'm dying in the suit. Instead, Mickey might mime wiping sweat from his brow, or Tigger might fan himself dramatically. Every answer has to exist inside the world of the story. Even when 2 characters cross paths, say Belle passes Gaston on Main Street, they must act like they're truly meeting for the first time as those characters, no exceptions. That's why every encounter feels genuine, because to them, in that moment, it is. For Disney cast members, it's not cosplay, it's character possession. And if that sounds extreme, wait until you hear about the next rule. Secret number 2. They're required to pick up trash. Yep. Every cast member, from princesses to parade drummers, is required to help keep the parks spotless. It's part of what Disney calls the show, what guests see and experience in the parks and resorts. If a guest drops a napkin or spills popcorn, the nearest cast member doesn't wait for a custodial staff person to show up. They scoop it up themselves, gracefully, in motion, as if it's all part of the act. They even have an official technique: the Disney scoop. You bend your knees, swoop down with one hand, and keep your head up, smiling the whole time. It's choreographed sanitation. The idea came from Walt Disney himself. He hated seeing trash in Disneyland, but he also hated breaking the illusion of cleanliness. 2 concepts that are central to the philosophy of Disney Parks operations are: you're part of the show. Keep the stage clean. That's why you'll never see a cast member stand idle with litter at their feet. Even a fully suited Goofy might shuffle awkwardly to nudge a rapper toward a trash can while staying in character. And here's the part that blows most guests' minds. Trash cans at Disney are only 30 feet apart throughout the parks. Walt measured how far guests would walk before dropping litter. So, the next time you see a performer magically appear to tidy something, remember, they're not breaking character. They're protecting the show. And speaking of being watched, it turns out they're watching you, too. Secret number 3. They're watching you more than you think. You've probably noticed that Disney cast members always seem to appear at just the right moment, like when you drop your popcorn or look a little lost. That's not coincidence, that's choreography. Cast members, especially those working with characters, are trained to read crowds like a stage director scanning an audience. They're looking for smiles, confusion, body language, kids about to burst into tears. anything that signals they need to step in. Each performer has a character attendant nearby, usually wearing regular park clothes, but these attendants are more than helpers. They're security, timekeepers, and emotional radar all in one. They manage the line flow, protect the actor's physical space, and watch for potential problems before guests ever notice. But here's the part guests never realize. The entire park layout supports this. Disney's Sightline system ensures that when you're in one land, you'll never see something that breaks the fantasy, like Woody walking through Tomorrowland or Goofy's head sitting on a table. Everything and everyone is staged, and yes, that includes you. The cast is always scanning for guests' reactions to maintain immersion. If a child looks scared of Donald Duck, they'll signal the actor to soften their body language. If someone drops an ice cream, another cast member might swoop in with a smile and a replacement cone, all before the guest even processes what happened. Disney calls it anticipatory magic. And that feeling you get when everything runs perfectly, that's not luck either. That's dozens of trained eyes making sure you never see the seams. But what about the illusion itself? How do they make you believe in something that's technically impossible? And speaking of doing Disney right, here's a little secret for your wallet. If you're planning your own Disney trip, don't buy tickets straight from the official site. You can grab the exact same real tickets for less through Undercover Tourist. They're an authorized seller that's been saving families money for years. You'll find the link down in the description. It's a great way to stretch your Disney budget without sacrificing any magic. Alright, so we've talked about how Disney actors live double lives, keep the park spotless, and basically watch over guests like undercover stage managers. But what happens when the magic starts to break down? When it's too hot, too heavy, or too real? Well, buckle up, because these next few secrets are where the illusion gets wild. Secret number 4. The secret language of cast members. If you've ever heard a Disney employee speak in what sounds like code, you weren't imagining it. There's an entire vocabulary designed to keep guests blissfully unaware when something messy, chaotic, or flat out weird happens. Instead of saying someone threw up near Space Mountain, they'll quietly radio Code V, short for vomit. If there's a bathroom-related accident, that's a Code U. Need a cleanup of something worse? You might hear protein spill. Everything sounds professional and harmless, even when it's not. Now, if you've ever heard show stop, that's serious. It means an attraction or parade performance has halted. It's the equivalent of a stage manager yelling cut, except you'll never hear it in public. And then there's the famous phrase, have a magical day. Sweet, right? Well, it really depends on the context and tone. Most of the time, it's a genuine statement. Cast members do want you to have a magical day. On the other hand, among cast members, have a magical day may be the polite insult of choice that translates to, you're being difficult, but I'm not allowed to break character. It's similar to that phrase in Texas when someone is being stupid. Oh, bless your heart. So, the next time a cast member flashes a too wide smile and wishes you a very magical day, you might have just been roasted in Disney speak, depending on what you were doing in that moment. Now, this coded communication keeps the park moving without breaking the fantasy, like a stage whisper between actors who can't let the audience know the script just went off the rails. And when the heat or the crowds push things too far, that secret language turns life-saving. Secret number 5, you're supposed to throw up in the costume. Yeah, this one's exactly what it sounds like. Florida, especially in the summertime, gets hot and humid. When you work as a costumed character, especially one of the full fursuits like Mickey, Goofy, or Donald, you're trained for all kinds of heat-related emergencies. The golden rule? Never break character in public. Ever. That means if you start to feel sick, you don't rip off the costume head or run to the nearest exit. You turn discreetly away from the guests and, brace yourself, throw up inside the costume. It's not pleasant, but it's policy. Most suits have absorbent liners or removable inner pads for exactly this reason. The goal is to protect the illusion, even if that means a few minutes of misery. As soon as the performer is out of sight, attendants step in fast. One distracts the guests, another gets the actor backstage for medical care and cleaning. Some former cast members have said it's not even that uncommon during peak summer heat. The costumes are heavy, the air barely circulates, and dehydration hits fast. So, yes, the smiling goofy you high-fived might have been on the verge of losing his lunch 30 seconds earlier. It's gross, it's intense, and it's pure Disney dedication. Staying in character until the curtain drops so you don't ruin a kid's dream. Wow, now that's how deep the commitment runs, and that same perfectionism carries over to the next secret. Secret number 6, Mickey can't cross this line. Alright, time for a little park hopping magic. We're leaving the Florida humidity of Walt Disney World for a quick jet set over to sunny California, home of Walt's original dream, Disneyland. Welcome to Disney California Adventure, where there's a tiny stretch of pavement with one of the strangest, most symbolic rules in Disney history. Right in the middle of Buena Vista Street, you'll find an ordinary-looking crosswalk. Guests stroll over it all day without even noticing. But for Mickey Mouse, that crosswalk might as well be a brick wall. Because on one side stands Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and on the other side stands Mickey Mouse. And Mickey cannot cross that line. Why? Because that simple bit of concrete represents the single biggest turning point in Walt Disney's life. Before Mickey ever whistled his first tune, Oswald was Walt's first cartoon star until 1928, when a contract dispute with Universal took Oswald away from him. Walt lost the rights to his own creation, boarded a train home to California, and somewhere on that ride, dreamed up a cheerful little mouse who would change entertainment forever. So that crosswalk on Buena Vista Street isn't random. It's the moment frozen in time. Oswald's world is on one side in the roaring 1920s, and Mickey's new beginning on the other. The two characters never meet, never see each other. When performers appear in the park, Oswald greets guests on his side, Mickey on his, and they never switch. It's a living symbol of Disney's rebirth, the literal line between the character Walt lost and the one who saved him. And guests walk right through the space between them, the bridge between Walt's heartbreak and his comeback. So far, every rule we've talked about protects the illusion. Stay in character, keep smiling, look perfect, never break the story. It's the ultimate performance. But here's what most people don't realize. That level of perfection has a price. Behind the happiest place on earth, there are rivalries, pressure, and the consequences for the smallest mistakes. One wrong move, one out-of-character word, one missed cue, and an actor can lose everything they've worked for. The next few secrets reveal what really happens after the parade ends, when the smiles fade, the cameras turn off, and the performers step out of the spotlight. Because Disney's magic doesn't just live in the parks, it costs something to keep it alive. Secret number 7. They have rivalries, just like any cast. Not every Disney actor gets to be a star. Literally. Behind the castle gates, there's an unspoken hierarchy, a pecking order that determines who plays which roles, who performs in which shows, and who gets the spotlight. At the base level are the fur characters. These are the fully costumed roles, Mickey, Pluto, Stitch, the ones who can't talk and rely entirely on physical expression. It's brutally hot, physically demanding work. Shifts are shorter to prevent heat exhaustion, but they still require constant motion and perfect timing. Next come the face characters. These are your princesses, princes, pirates, and villains, the ones who interact directly with guests, speak in character, and pose for photos. Landing one of these roles is fiercely competitive. You need not just acting ability, but specific looks, speech patterns, and mannerisms. Every princess has an exact height, age, and voice range. There's literally a Bell blueprint. Then you have the signature performers. They're the elite, the ones you see in promotional photos, parades, or marketing campaigns. They've mastered the role so completely that they're considered the official version for media appearances. And while Disney will never say this publicly, insiders admit, if you're late, break character, or even post the wrong thing online, you can lose your rank overnight. It's a world where perfection isn't a goal, it's a requirement. And that leads us right into the final secret. Secret number 8. Can't let go of hugs first. This one hits hard, and once you hear it, you'll never look at a character meet and greet the same way again. Every Disney actor who plays a costume character is trained in what they call emotional performance protocol. That means they don't just act, they listen, feel, and respond in character to each guest's emotional energy. And one of the golden rules is this: the character can never let go of a hug first. If a child runs up and clings to Mickey for 10 seconds, Mickey stays. If it's 30 seconds, Mickey stays. If it's a full minute and the child still isn't ready, Mickey stays. Why? Because Disney believes that moment might be the moment. Maybe that kid's been dreaming about this hug for years. Maybe it's a Make-A-Wish trip or the family's first vacation after a very tough time. The performer doesn't know, and that's the point. They treat every hug like it matters. And here's what really gets you. Cast members say those hugs are often the hardest part of the job because when you feel a kid trembling in your arms or whispering, "I love you, Mickey," you realize you're not pretending anymore. You are the magic. Many performers say they step backstage after those moments, take off the costume, and just cry. Not out of sadness, but because for a few minutes, they weren't an actor. They were someone's dream come true. And that's when we hit the one rule Disney can't control. The rule Disney can't control. The magic line. Since you've been so good, here's a little bonus insight behind the magic for you. Disney trains their actors to perform, to smile, to create wonder. But there's one thing they can't train: how to separate belief from reality. Every performer talks about the magic line. It's that invisible boundary between acting like the character and becoming the character. You start out pretending to be Ariel or Goofy or Peter Pan, but after hundreds of meet and greets, thousands of hugs, and millions of smiles, you stop pretending. You are that character now. A former Peter Pan once said, "I don't think I ever really land." Imagine playing Tinkerbell during a parade. You see a little girl in a wheelchair holding a handmade sign that says, "I believe." As the float passes by, you break formation just for a second, hover for a moment longer near the girl, and sprinkle some imaginary pixie dust over her. That's the kind of guest interaction performers create daily. It's that kind of moment when you're not acting like Tinkerbell. For that little girl, you are Tinkerbell. That's the rule Disney can't control. The human heart doesn't follow scripts. Behind the costumes, the coded language, and the perfect choreography are real people. People who believe in the magic just as much as you do. And that's why Disney works, because every performer decides day after day to keep the story alive. So, the next time you're in Disney World and you see Mickey wave, or Cinderella twirl, or Peter Pan laugh like he's never grown up, remember, you're not just seeing an actor. You're seeing someone who spent their entire day making your magic real. And that's the real secret Disney doesn't want you to know. Which Disney character made your trip unforgettable? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to read your stories. And if you enjoyed this look behind the magic, hit that like button, share it with your favorite Disney buddy, and subscribe for more Disney insider stories. Tap the next video on your screen also to keep exploring the secrets behind the parks, because remember, your adventure is just beginning.